or everyone's favorite FBI director that was disgraced so wonderfully and so controversially. I know it's a contradiction, but oh well. Criticized Attorney General and I should also specify because there are people who go, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm referring to Comey, the FBI director, until 2 years ago. Criticized Attorney General William Barr in the Washington Post op-ed on Monday, saying he needs to stop acting like a Trump spokesperson. Comey called on Barr to provide an acknowledgement of the truth and admit he was wrong in the aftermath of Inspector General Michael Herowitz's report released on the FBI's investigation into connections between the Trump campaign and Russia. Well, the wait is over, and those who smeared the FBI are due for an accounting, Comey wrote. In particular, Attorney General William P. Barr owes the institution he leads and the American people an acknowledgement of the truth. As the leader of an institution that is supposed to be devoted to truth, Barr needs to stop acting like a Trump spokesperson, he wrote. The former FBI director said the report then found no political motive for launching the investigation. Told the truth. The report that found no political motive for launching the investigation. Excuse me. Oh, these articles are just so long and tedious. So he's come out of the woodworks to critique the FBI director. Barr is, this wonderful person that has never done anything wrong. And there's another article over here about him too. It was two of them back to back. Just he said something and then Comey came out against him. And it's really weird for Comey to usually his activities are left up to just being stupid on Twitter, like, oh, I'm running for president. Not really. So he's decided to make this one of his few times where he actually does something besides tweet. It's all anybody does anymore. That's not all these non-active politicians do the same tweet. They write something. Attorney General William Barr said that a newly released, I didn't even tell you what date this was. Justice Department watchdog report showed the FBI launched an intrusive investigation of President Trump's campaign on the thinnest of suspicions. Barr also said the report from Justice Department Inspector General Michael Herowitz showed that, in his opinion, the FBI had an insufficient basis to justify steps taken in the investigation into the Trump administration in 2016, the Trump campaign in 2016, putting him at odds with Herowitz, who concluded the report that the Bureau had an authorized purpose to open the investigation. It is also clear that from its inception, the evidence produced by the investigation was consistently exculpatory. Nonetheless, the investigation and surveillance was pushed forward for the duration of the campaign and deep into President Trump's administration, Barr said. So he's pushing back against that, even though the inspector general said that there was motive to look into the campaign. I already said the Russia stuff all just seems stupid because I'm supposed to believe that this foreign leader is so evil for having a preferred choice in an international election when all of these people have one person like over the other. And it's really it's just dumb, man. And there happened was this the seventh hour of that impeachment hearing, which, like I said before, I try to have go in one ear and out the other because I don't care because all they do is whine and get pissed off about all this old stuff. Oh, 20 years ago when Clinton was getting impeached, you said this. Well, now he's not saying it. Like now they're trying to smear Jonathan Turley, I believe his name is the legal scholar who didn't vote for Trump but said the impeachment was a waste of time. They're going, well, 20 years ago, you says, like, but he's not saying that now. You're holding him to a standard that we're going to bond you. They act as if someone cannot change their mind. Now, if it was last year or 2 weeks ago or let's say 5 years ago, okay, fine. But 20 years ago, you're gonna say, oh, well, this, what you're saying here is contradicted by your previous opinion because we all know people can't evolve in their view after a series of decades. Yeah, that's totally impossible. That's why I said I try not to cover the impeachment stuff. At least by itself, like separately in an upload. I mention here and there just to say how dumb I think the whole thing is. But I stay away from uploading about it because it just it's such a massive waste of time. Like we're going to spend 7 hours with interviewing some people who we already know don't like Trump. We already know are all for getting rid of him. But if we don't have the Senate to actually, get the 67 votes to remove him, what's the point? Just to waste time and deflect from all the other issues that are actually going on. Why address the environmental crisis when you can sit here every day whining about the president? Why try to get out of any of these 7 wars when you can sit up at your desk and talk to people for 7 hours? So it's all them, and it is working to an extent, at least as far as allowing them to not have to actually do anything that is consequential in the grand scheme of things. Like, oh, because we're doing this, we don't have to worry about ever getting asked to pursue any of the agenda that we claim that we had. But if you, I did the video a while ago about how all the Democrats were like losing to Trump in Wisconsin. It was only after this impeachment stuff kept going on and on that was when that started happening. So I said, yeah, thanks for screwing up the campaigns of people who, in a lot of cases, aren't even involved with this. Good job. So I said the DNC is such a they're like what do you call it? They're if the candidates are just regular people, which a lot of them aren't, and I've said I only would vote for three of the people running a Democratic primary. Um, they're like a parasite that attaches itself to the back of you and just drains all of the enthusiasm that you yourself as the candidate generate because you get stuck with the banner of the DNC and the Russia gate and impeachment and all this stuff that regular people don't care about. But they'll go ahead and keep wasting their time talking about it. It just shows the disconnect between regular people and a lot of these politicians because they don't have any of the issues I talked about where a lot of them actually get paid to keep these conflicts going over and over, year after year. Ooh, this is interesting. Senior U.S. officials knowingly lied to the public about their progress throughout the 18-year war in Afghanistan, consistently painting a roster picture of the state of the war that they knew to be true, a rosier picture than on the state of the war. So, because that sounds interesting, and I don't want to just waste it all here, I'll put this somewhere else. Not trying to change the subject. Found out that more than half of American employees are employed with low wage jobs, or it's an epidemic on the lower and upper. Well, I said before, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's why when they were talking about, look at all these jobs that were added, look at all these jobs that were added. Oh my God, wonderful economy. I said that's not an indicator of wealth. Every single person could be employed, and we could still have a majority of people poor because they're not earning enough to satisfy their means. Not, then they do the thing of, well, if people didn't buy whatever, so they start smearing those who can't afford stuff. I know Gillibrand is trying to say something about the papers. I guess it was the same document. She said, "Oh, that's wonderful. This thing is taking a while to load." Also, I just found out because when I thought of Gmail and their little storage thing, if you send somebody a file, I thought that it was like I don't want to say an unlimited amount of space, but when they told me how much space you have before buying more, it's really insane. So basically, there's nowhere to put any like video or anything else that you would want other than like find some other email place or uh it's dumb. All these websites keep besides YouTube keep trying to have limits on storage. Like they did the same thing, I think it was Vimeo, where It's like, "Oh, you've used 20% of your thing this year." It's like, "What?" You're like anybody even goes over to your dead website, trying to tell me how much I can and can't upload. Are you serious? Okay, Buddha Trash announced his campaign would open his high dollar fundraisers to reporters and disclose the name of campaign bundlers, vowing to pressure from critics who have accused him of lacking transparency. Campaign manager Mike Schummel said in a statement that in a continued commitment to transparency, events will be open to press beginning Tuesday, and a list of people raising money for the campaign will be released within a week. From the start, Pete has said it is important for every candidate to be open and honest, and his actions have reflected that commitment. He is the only current presidential candidate who has released the names of people raising money for his campaign, and will continue to release additional names as more people join our growing effort. Moreover, he will be one of the few candidates to allow reporters access to his fundraising events. So he had Buddha Trash pegged all wrong. He's gonna be transparent and tell us everything, and we're gonna feel right at home with the any town has ever had. This is him trying to get away from the correct accusation. He's just one of these little uh, empty suit bubble boy, politicians that gets bought out and then changes their position. I still can't get over that tape of him supporting single payer last year, late last year, and then flipping uh, since this election cycle has continued. I tried to explain to this person. I said, if I can find a tape of someone from a very short time ago saying one thing and then the other, this is a Rhodes Scholar, so it's not like he just sat back at home and went, "Oh, I now realize this can't work." No, it was having to do with the pharmaceutical industry saying, "Hey, we'll donate to your little crappy campaign, but in exchange, we need you to go up there and fearmonger about single payer because if we get that implemented, oh man, we're going to lose a lot of money. We won't be able to price gouge Americans anymore." So he's trying to be slick, but it's not working. And a lot of people are seeing through the scam, and that's why the Iowa and New Hampshire thing with him going up is uh, hopefully maybe just a little brief moment in the spotlight, because that does happen where one person will go up for a little bit and then it'll go down after a month or two. Uh, but I seriously doubt he'll win either of those states because his lead it's not insurmountable enough to where you couldn't say it might swing in the favor of someone else. So last one was 26, 18, 19. Yeah, that's enough for someone to flip. And this isn't about disliking a candidate because with South Carolina, for example, I said before, I don't see anyone but Biden winning that because his lead was like 20 points or some ridiculous number, some huge gap that I just based off the fact that it stays the same month after month, you can reasonably deduce that he'll probably carry that place. Which is sad because I really don't understand why these people are so diametrically opposed to pretty much anyone else. I mean, I guess I'd take him over the mayor, but when I see Warren having the same number of support as the mayor in that state, something is wrong. There's a glitch in the system. There's some kind of issue. People are acting really weird. There's someone's mind is malfunctioning to where he would even. And I keep hearing, oh, he doesn't have support. He doesn't have support from them. But why is he doing better than most people in that state then? And I don't know why anyone can't just concede that it's due to the fact the media keeps discussing him over and over, doing all these town halls and like giving them all this coverage. Hell, if you go on MSNBC, it alternates between him and Biden just over and over. They actually did have a study where they showed that Biden gets 3 times the coverage that Sanders does on MSNBC. That's why they have that thing, the Bernie blackout, where like he'll break fundraising records and they won't even report or put out some major campaign proposal. They'll completely ignore it. It's all done on purpose. But because there are people who, don't like Sanders, they don't want to objectively look at the fact that there's something creepy when you can be a front runner for a party's nomination and get ignored in favor of people that are polling at 1 and 2 and 3, just because the network doesn't agree with your philosophy or your ideas. So I said, are just people. They don't they're very selective about when they care about something. So they let these little stupid systems exist and stay around because they don't critique it ever. It was funny watching Yang's interview with MSNBC where they were talking about, but that's a network that's loved by liberals. Like, which ones? Because I've seen them get critiqued nonstop for a lot of the stupid stuff they do. Like again, covering people who have no chance of winning over ones that do, or ones that have like, let's say they're not polling that high, but they have grassroots support. Like they're actually known for having um, a bunch of online backers and more donors and whatnot than someone like Delaney or Bloomberg or any of these other rich clowns. They still won't pay him any attention. It is funny watching Gillibrand try to get involved with this. Like, lady, you had been in the Senate for 10 years. You had 10. You've had a decade to try and get out of that war. You don't care. Not fooling anybody. And the Senate Democrats are trying to get Stephen Miller fired after a watchdog group released hundreds of controversial emails the White House advisor sent prior to his time in the administration. And it's probably not going to happen. So they're again more waste of time. They said 27 of them. Let's see who signed on to this. Oh, they don't even link to the letter. And more than 100 House Democrats called late last month for Miller to resign. More than 50 civil rights groups have also sent a separate letter calling on Trump to fire Miller. So just get rid of him. Damn. Why all these people want you to get rid of this man? Because and I always try to point out if they're all being ridiculous, why is he the only one that they're all signing the letter to say get rid of? Why would they be the one person who they're trying to tell you to get to just throw away? If all those evil Democrats are trying to tell you how to run your cabinet, then why is he the only person that they're saying remove? I don't see any of them saying get rid of the education secretary, and she's, in my opinion, the worst person there because she literally bought her seat with no experience in the education field. But yeah, he'll keep him, and then he'll wonder, oh, I can't believe that my approval rating with people of color is so low. I don't understand. Like all you had to do was fire him. He could have just said, I didn't know that he wrote that stuff. My mistake. I'm getting rid of him. They would have. It wouldn't have drastically changed it, but it would have. I guarantee you, this will be if whoever writes a book on Trump, it'll be one of the like if they have a civil rights section, that'll be in that section. Like he hired Stephen Miller, who had a past, and all these Democrats and the civil rights group said get rid of him, but he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't budge. He said, I'm going to keep this controversial character. And someone might say, well, this shows how he'll stand up to pressure. Like, yeah, but there's just certain fights that aren't worth putting up. Like Miller is not the Secretary of State. He's not the Treasury Secretary. No kind of important position. So, what does getting rid of what does keeping him end up helping for the for Trump's tenure? I guarantee you, if we went around and asked, let's say the next 100 people. What has Miller done since he became was a secretary, senior advisor to the president? I guarantee no one will be able to say anything because they don't know. He doesn't do anything. Just He's just there to take up space and receive a check for no damn reason. And this is a really, really useless man. That's the best way to put it. People can probably tell you more about what he said in his emails and what he said since he's had a White House position. Oh man, the House Republicans have their own lowering drug prices plan. They designed their measure to include only policies that both parties can agree to, saying Congress could pass their bipartisan bill rather than the Democratic legislation, which is expected to pass on a largely party line vote. The Republican legislation is significantly smaller scale than the Democratic bill. It does not include anything that Republicans deem price controls for drugs, which the GOP argues hinders the development of new treatments. The Democratic bill, in contrast, would limit drug prices based on prices paid in other countries and allow for the government to negotiate lower prices, both ideas opposed by House Republicans. Representative Greg Walden, the top Republican on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, said the GOP bill would bring down the cost of medicine while not spending the incredible innovation that's centered here in the oh my god, more American exceptionalism crap, and it's done for drug prices. The GOP bill would bring down the cost of medicines while not upending the incredible innovation that's centered here in the US. What the hell is so innovative about charging people more for drugs here than any other country? Like, what? How is that a good thing? But that's why I said these representatives are so stupid. They don't even think when they write this stuff. Oh yes, I'd like free markets. You mean the free market of price gouging people? Yeah, sure, it's terrific. And they're not affected by it because they can afford this. So they let regular people get screwed over by their horrible positions on these issues, and they still get voted right back in. Talking about ours won't pass. Your bill won't pass in the party line vote, so you should support ours. It's like you realize that if you take away enough from the bill that they introduced, they're probably not going to want to vote for it because why the hell would you take the bill they have and get rid of the things that even make it their proposal, most of it, and then say, "Oh yes, you will now vote for this because we largely agree on the little small things." Like, yeah, but you're still not, and it's they're so dumb. This is bipartisan, so it's automatically better. You're going to get more votes. Well, sometimes you have to not get more votes because people have a crappy ideology that is never going to be appeased by your position. And sometimes they're paid to have that position. So when we go and look up these pharmaceutical companies and who they're giving cash to, a lot of times it's Republicans and the blue dog Democrats because they want them to be against either having single payer or having they're slowly starting to get there on a public option, but it still isn't enough. Just this whole system needs to be upended because, like I said, I don't see the point in all these other countries having single payer, us not having it, and then those of us who want it over here are so stupid, and you know what you're talking about. Duh, 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 duh. So I think it's stupid for things to be the way they are. Why do we need to have bankruptcies over medical bills? Like, is that really necessary? Why do we need to have drug companies that sometimes charge four times the amount over here than they do in places like Canada or somewhere else? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm not a one of the brilliant Republican uh, pharmacist politicians, so I can't tell you why things should be one way or the other. They're the more advanced, sophisticated people. They have me upended in terms of intellect and understanding of these issues. They're all so bright and terrific. They're the true geniuses. They know what they're doing. Oh, I think it finally went off. Oh no, it's still on. But I think they're playing clips of it. I hope that it's finally over. 7 hours of that. I like how every time they do it, I just go to sleep 'cause it's so boring and it's not anything worth watching. Besides any of the clips that they consider to be relevant to any other story, they'll crop out and put there themselves. They're gonna go, "Oh, you didn't like you didn't want to watch 7 hours of this? Okay, well, don't worry, we've got 10 minutes of it that we thought were very significant." It's like, all right, cool. Even though sometimes, I'm not saying trust the media because sometimes they do leave out certain things that are of significance just to fuel their own narrative. I think there's a video on C-SPAN of Dennis Kucinich, who was the representative prior to retiring, when he was trying to draft articles of impeachment against Bush, and he just sat there and I mean UK elections tonight. I thought it was the 12th, Ruben. But yeah, he sat there and he listed all the different things that he thought he could get yanked over. And uh I remember it was some kind of compelling case and they just wouldn't cover it. Like all the Democrats just ignored it. It was just whatever. But that's why that guy said that the reason Pelosi didn't try to impeach Bush is because she would have gone to jail too. No, it's the 12th. Man, we'll come in here with that fake news. United Kingdom general election 2019, Thursday, December 12th. Nice try. Always over here trolling, trying to trick somebody. It didn't work today. You're gonna have to go to another stream and crash it. Also, I was wondering where you were yesterday. I was trying to figure out why you didn't send a message. Trying to get me all hyped up. Mistaking a 10 with the 12. We're gonna have a year where a month where it's all the what do you call it, multiples of three. So it's the third, the sixth, the ninth, the 12th. We just skipped multiple days. Regarding Pelosi, she was initially against it, but then the rest of the Democrats turned on her. Yeah, because she wants to keep her like these people have no morals. She wanted to keep her speakership and not risk any challenge to her little idea of staying in power. Because remember, she said I want to do at least 4 years of being speaker. So she decided to go along with this. And yeah, be still, we're aware that Pelosi's compliant with Trump. Why do you think there's that clip of Trump saying that he can give her wow, that thanks, Ruben. I'm shocked. I appreciate it. Um, but why do you think there's that clip of Trump saying, "I can supply Pelosi with the votes if she needs them for if she can't get enough from the Democrats for Speaker"? Because he knew that she would be the least effective at opposing him with her crappy approval rating that he could run against and have an easier time with just having public approval. Like I don't even like Klobuchar, but she's more popular than Pelosi. She's actually, I think it was a poll from earlier this year or last year. She was the third most popular senator behind Sanders and Leahy. Like even a neoliberal like that is better at tricking regular people into thinking she's actually good than Pelosi. Pelosi at one time had when she was speaker the first time had a 29% approval rating, hated by everybody for good reason. 79 years old. Yeah, but the age thing is not an issue. If you're a crappy politician, you're a crappy politician. What McConnell's like, let me see how old he is. Like 70, 75, 74, 73, and he's got the worst approval rating out of any of these 77. Okay. Yeah, worst approval rating out of any senator. But he was 60 when he took over in 2007, he was oh, let me get the calendar out. Point is, he was in his or younger than that, and by over 10 years, still unpopular, still not liked. So, this age thing is kind of Not really all that matters here. Yes, 65. Hated by regular people for 12 years, if not longer. I remember AOC's more Democrat-friendly followers used Pelosi initially being against impeachment to act like they had anti-establishment credentials. Yeah, and I told you that all of the opposition to these right-wing Democrats, whether it's Pelosi or Hoyer or any of the other ones, it's always stupid. They never go after them. Yeah, Ruben, she's 86, I believe. She's the oldest currently serving senator, and I voted against that dinosaur twice last year. Didn't work. 86. Yep. But I was saying that they don't ever go after him on any actual domestic issue. Like you had Pelosi say the Green Dream or whatever. You don't see any Democrats holding climate town halls against her. You've had her basically remain tight-lipped on all of these 7 wars these countries were bombing and actually indicate support for what the attempt to have a coup in Venezuela. They don't go after her for that. Like they just don't care. But they want to sit here and whine about Trump every day. Oh my God, the president, the president, the president, the president. Mm. But yeah, I'm gonna try to wrap up the Corbin documentary prior to Thursday. Like, the biggest issue will be because I have most of the script written. I just need the clips and record my part and all other wonderful stuff. AOC said that Pelosi was a racist. That was stupid. Yeah, I don't believe. This is why I don't like a lot of modern contemporary political figures, whether they're politicians or commentators. They are so quick to label someone over pretty much anything. Um, like I can't think of anything Pelosi has said or done that has been explicit. Like, we can talk about things that are in favor of the rich and how most of them are white, but explicitly against a particular ethnic group. It's so dumb, man. That was a ridiculous comment. I'm not even. I can't stand Pelosi, but she's not one of those. But again, when people are pissed off and they're trying to discredit whatever politician they're opposed to, they'll throw out any term. Like I told you, you go to Fox for their comment section for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and you'll see people calling Pelosi a communist and a socialist and all these other weird terms that like have nothing to do with a right wing Democrat like that. I mean, they are insane. Like they actually believe, yeah, yeah, she's on the far left. It's like no. God, I don't even want to bother with these people anymore. So I said the only one of those House Democrats I really even bother or really even pay attention to is Kana. All the other ones are just kind of like if they're progressive, they're not really they're not trying to like upend the system or do anything outside of just this impeachment stuff. So they're all just wasting time with these things at this point. Don't even. I'm not even gonna bother with it. I'm gonna let them just sit there and act dumb and waste what a 2 year term. I probably have to look into it. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, these news sources I don't think have mentioned that at all. I get most of the news from the Hill. They're not really discussing it, so I'm gonna have to go look and see what's going on. Let's see. Give me a moment. Type this into that wonderful Google. Wait, is this the same thing about them pulling out of their the planned New York City headquarters, or is it something else? Because I'm seeing all the stories I'm viewing are from February. The political Amazon New York drop dead. AOC is running around like she actually accomplished something for once. Remember what Trump called her a do nothing Democrat, and she said, I sponsored all these bills. It's like, man, you had a bunch of followers on Twitter, and that was pretty much it. So yeah, I actually, Ruben, I recorded an upload about the Hill and how much coverage they give her compared to everybody else, and it's kind of disturbing because the Hill has a series of you can click the person's names, how many pages of news they've had about them, um, and it's really creepy about how much of it. It's the Amazon deal failed, but they're coming to New York anyway. So they're saying screw the fact that it didn't work. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna keep on trying. They're gonna return, have a glorious reemergence. This is their grand plan to show up once again. Yeah, please go check. I want to make sure I'm talking about the right story. Oh, that thing is finally over. Thank God. I don't know how anybody watches that for 7 hours. It's just so boring and like uninformative and a massive waste of time. But people are into that, I guess. It's they think that's sexy to sit there and watch some people go back and forth for no reason. So is Trump getting impeached after all? I mean, you saw the little stupid 2 minute announcement by Pelosi that they're going to move forward with the articles or something. And I mean, like I said, we already know what the outcome is. Impeachment vote in the House, acquittal in the Senate, months of people's lives wasted. Most shameful impeachment in U.S. history. That's how it's going to work. Already predicted it. I think actually what I should have what I should have done was go, oh, we'll get impeached, but it won't actually get him out because there are people who think the word impeached is synonymous with removed. So there, like I had one person like, when Clinton got impeached, didn't he get removed from office? No, he got acquitted. They're just wasting their time. I actually would be really interested in seeing if they could impeach members of the House. Like imagine they try to impeach who's someone that's a waste of time in there. Well, all of them are pretty much, but I like to just some random representative be like, we have articles we're drafting against you because you never see them try to get rid of any of their colleagues ever for anything. Like Bob Menendez with his crooked self. You've never seen the Senate try to get rid of him after all the corrupt, and he's more corrupt than probably any other sitting Democrat besides Pelosi. And he's been found out and caught for it more than anybody else. Without a shadow of a doubt. Those people also think that both Trump and Pence will get arrested if Trump gets impeached. Yeah, that's why they're stupid. They don't know that Pence is perfectly fine. Like, if they were smart, they would have impeached Pence, and then they would have impeached Trump after that. So, it could go to their the fossilized hag. I mean, the Speaker of the House. There's too much tribalism. Like, it's not a coincidence that all the Democrats want Trump impeached in the House, and all the ones in this, and all the Republicans don't. It's because they want to keep their seat, and they don't know any way to do that besides being basically like the rest of their party and kowtown, whatever the position of the party is at that point. Be a bunch of cowards. Mm. All of them just want to have those Trump voters support them, or those people that don't like Trump vote for them. So they'll completely compromise any type of integrity. Yeah, they'll probably wrap this up maybe next month, and then we'll get the impeachment vote, and then we'll probably have the. I just think and this was pointed out by someone that you don't do this during the first term. You usually try the second one because then there's no chances of it electorally impacting this person's, I guess, political standing. But they don't care. They're trying to rush it out. Some podcast girl on Twitter has a lot of screenshots of former establishment people who used to smear Bernie Sanders, but have recently suddenly become pro-Bernie, and they're calling themselves literal, all Marxists, calling themselves literal Marxists. Yeah, I told you these people are empty suits. They say one thing and then do the other. That's why that Bakari Sellers clown, that the one last year, if you remember, who last year said Sanders 2020 died on Martin Luther King Day because he criticized Obama, and no one can ever do that. There's a clip of him from years before that saying, "Oh yeah, Sanders is an amazing candidate, and I would vote for him." And so, like, yeah, and then they have no integrity. I can pull that clip up right now of him talking about how he was a good alternative to Hillary and he would vote for him and support him enthusiastically. That's why I hate these people. They don't have any integrity. They just say one thing one day or one year, and then, when it becomes convenient to say something else, they flip. Remember that you ever saw that Jimmy video where the door video where he was playing the clips of Hillary saying, "I'm a moderate and I'm a progressive and I'm for this, I'm opposed to that." Like, she just flip flops. And then you saw her little stupid interview with Stern where she was like, "Oh, Bernie definitely hurt me." It's like, Skank, he went out and campaigned for you 14 times in 5 days. And like, oh, and she thanked him for. There's a clip of her from November. It was days before the election. It was November 3rd, that exact day, saying, "I appreciate Sanders' election has been more fun, so we're on the same team." And now, oh, he hurt me. I hope he doesn't do it to whoever comes. Yeah. Oh my God. Madam Clinton likes to troll us. Yeah, she's a piece of. I'm still glad she lost. I don't care what anybody says. I didn't vote for that idiot. For that literal two face. No, how the hell does someone campaign for you 14 times in 5 days and he didn't do enough to assist me? Like, what are you talking about? He could have endorsed me sooner. When she ran in 2008, she stayed in the race all the way until the end. But she wants people to quickly endorse her. And when he didn't endorse her, he was getting concessions from the DNC about what they would and wouldn't do. What they would do to get his endorsement, basically. Damn, I'm just so tired of these stupid people. Like, it's her, it's Walterman Schultz, it's Neera Tanden, it's like that whole group from that campaign. That they just need to, like, put them all in a little box and just go away. Like, no more TV interviews. If they want to stream from their house, they can. But as far as, like, oh hey guys, I was the campaign chair for the Clinton campaign. I'm here to tell you why single payer is so. We don't need that. Go away. You're not that needed. No one wants to hear from you. You're not adding anything of any value. Just disappear, fade away. I know a lot of people who are mad with Bernie because he ended up endorsing her and now said he's a sellout. Well, like I said, these people, I'm going to tell you something about these online leftists or liberals or progressives. And they can get mad and pissed. I don't care. A lot of them actually think they're smarter than people who are in the system that are progressive. So, for example, I got upset with AOC for endorsing Pelosi because Pelosi is not a progressive, but the argument of this person is still more to the left than these other people makes sense, even if it's still a crappy person that's being picked. Oftentimes, when people don't win a nomination, they endorse the person who won it. And in Sanders' case, he used that endorsement to get concessions from the DNC. But since these people have never ran for office, they've never tried to do any of this stuff. They have no idea what's going on. They think he was just like, well, I guess I had an interesting show against Clinton. I'm going to now endorse her for no reason. Like, no, he did that to get concessions. They did the same thing to Ro Khanna. I've seen countless people on his page talking about, you are no longer progressive. Like, are you serious? He's Sanders, one of his campaign co-chairs. So you know more than Sanders does about progress. All right, thank you. Like, they actually believe they're these sophisticated individuals that are all very intelligent. You know, like they know more than the people who are trying to actually do something with this system. And it doesn't mean you can't critique it. It doesn't mean you can't be opposed to something that's done there or not. I remember Power, that the Secretary of State. I know who she is. Yeah, Dick Blumenthal was even talking about running for president himself, or there was some poll that showed him doing that. Thank God he didn't. We have enough people doing it. We could have really had a tenth of the Senate running for president if they had all like all the ones that people speculated they got in. Like, it was Blumenthal, it was Bob Casey, it was, I think, Baldwin. I'm not sure. Just there were a whole bunch of them that could have gotten in but didn't. So I'm glad they chose to stay out. I wish more people stayed out. I mean, just a lot of them just have no message. But yeah, the this whole thing's been just a big waste of time. Like the impeachment stuff, they should have, what this Congress should have done was, and they did pass some bills earlier in the year. They should have passed that stuff, and then they should have had a popular speaker, someone that actually is not hated by most people, like Pelosi is, go out and campaign against Trump and the Republicans for opposing these proposals. They would go, hey, you guys are upset over all these shootings. Well, we passed a gun control bill. Yeah, oh yeah, Ruben. That's how modern. Like, I don't like Obama, but that circular firing squad comment is accurate. If you do one thing these people don't like, it's over. They didn't hate him when him and Sanders went after Amazon. They didn't hate him when he tried to get out of Yemen, but now they hate him over BDS. I think he can be critiqued for that vote, but I don't think it's time to hang up the hat on Like, it was him, Gabbard, and I think Presley that voted against it. That voted for it, rather, the BDS bill. And the only one of them I see that they're going after is him, because they like Presley because she's part of the crew. It's the only one they're trying to critique and be upset over and crap their pants on. The bill was so bizarre anyway. Yeah, but look, do you think any of them sat back and went, "Hey," because he did an interview where he explained his vote on that bill. Do you think any of them went and saw that or looked for it or tried to ask in some way that was considerate of what might have been in there? No, they don't. They don't care. As long as they can just get pissed off and cry and moan, it's fine to them. They. That's why I said I don't like a lot of these modern progressives. Like, they just use the internet to complain about stuff. They hate Presley. Some only like Omar, and others say she is a sellout too. Dude, no one's good enough for them. I mean, so I said the deans, like all these. This is why movements like this don't work, because there are too many people that will just cut someone off over any like little thing that happens. Like I said, I don't like Sanders's position on Israel. Like being opposed to BDS, because since he's a Jew, he's not going to get called anti-Semitic every 2 seconds by the establishment figures for not supporting their positions. That's why they're in like a difficult bind. But it's not going to make me go, oh man, forget him. I'm going to go support I don't know, the stupid mayor who's even worse on every issue. It's the people who took George Carlin's critiques of social commentary at face value. Yeah, they turn on you in a heartbeat. Damn, man. So I said people have no loyalty to any, and I'm not saying like again the whole thing of stay with this person no matter what, but the idea that they had 1 vote or 2 votes you don't like out of a year or 2 or 3 years of voting, I'm just gonna say screw you. It's not necessary. So then I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate those who attended. I'm gonna try to finish the documentary by Thursday, which still might make it take place after the election, but whatever, I'll just I'll try to wrap this up. So appreciate it. See you later, Ruben. Have a good day.